Do you hear amaretto sour and think, yuck, way too sweet, or even worse, heartburn inducing? Well, that's because you haven't had one of mine yet. I think every bartender has that classic that when someone orders it, they're like, this is gonna be the best one that you've ever had, and for me, that's the amaretto sour. Amaretto didn't make too many waves outside of its native Italy before riding on the tails of the Godfather movies into back bars. I have made a Godfather here if you're interested, but the amaretto sour emerged in the mid-70s as a lighter and sweeter alternative to the whiskey sour. It did lose its way a little bit in the 80s, I'm sure it wasn't the only one, and became a bit of a mess of sour mix and radioactive cherries. But done well, it's nutty and aromatic and just really delicious. Jeffrey Morgenthaler, who is a Portland bartender, really put this back on the map, and what he did was he cut the amaretto with cask strength bourbon, so kind of half and half, and that's certainly delicious too. But for my version, I do stick to full amaretto, but I also use maraschino liqueur rather than any sugar syrup. So maraschino, while it does have a sweetness, also has a dryness to it coming from the cherry pits, and then I add a couple of dashes of orange bitters for just nice brightness and a little bit of a bitterness coming through on the end. Of course, using a good quality amaretto helps as well. I'm going to use a local one which is made from actual almonds rather than peach pits, which is something that some amarettos are made from, and obviously good to look into if you are allergic to nuts. But definitely something like Luxardo or Di Serrano will work as well. So I'm gonna go in with 60 ml of my amaretto. This one is from White Possum Brewing, so a very Aussie name. So nice local one. They're naked amaretto, which is very delicious, I have to say. And then we're gonna go in with 15 ml of your classic Luxardo maraschino. Then I do a full 30 ml of lemon juice. A lot of other sours I'll cut that back a little bit, just because, you know, you want the I guess main spirit to be the main character in there, but here it does kind of need it to cut through everything else. Then I'm just going to go in with a couple of dashes of orange bitters. I'm just using Reagan's, which is pretty classic on most bars. Whatever you have is fine. And then a bit of egg white. So I've got mine pre-prepared in the bar here, but generally kind of like about 15 ml of egg white. Then we're going to give it a little shake. With egg white, obviously you would kind of want to give it a little shake without ice first, and that just gets everything frothy and moving and emulsifying. And then we'll add some ice. That's not a guilty pleasure, that's just straight delicious. Double strain into a coupe. Then I like to use a little bit of Angostura bitters. This is what I've got in this bottle here. Just do a few little drops over the top, and then you can use a little skewer or toothpick to sort of swipe through the middle of those dots, and that'll give you nice little hearts. Got to lean into the kitsch a little bit. And you can use that same skewer with a couple of cherries on it. I am using Morello cherries, but obviously maraschino works as well. It's really just for a snack at the end. And there we have an amaretto sour. Look, I don't often like to toot my own horn, but I do just think this is the nicest one that I've had, because it's still got that sweetness. Like, I just feel like if you want a whiskey sour, you can have that. This is very much its own thing. The Angostura on top just gives a really nice little whack of sort of woody spice and botanicals on the nose, and then you've got that real nuttiness coming through, but it dries out at the end because of the maraschino and those little couple of dashes of orange bitters. I reckon if it's been a while since you've given an amaretto sour a try, then give it a go again and see what you think. My version of an amaretto sour. So now you know.